It's fall of 1998. I'm getting ready to get out of the military. And for the first time in my life, I have to get a real job. And I say I have to get a real job. And that's because for the first time, again in my life, I have real responsibilities. See, the military, it's a great career. It's a great adventure. It's a great experience, but it doesn't really prepare you for when you get out of the military. Because when you get out of the military, there's no more government quarters. There's no more food rations and paid uniforms and free medical and dental and vision and all those other perks that comes with being a military soldier or being a soldier at all. You know, those are the things that you don't know when you're in, that when you get out, they become real. So now for the first time, I have to now find a real job that's going to pay me enough to pay my rent, pay my water bill, pay my electric bill, pay for food, pay for my family, pay for my car, pay for the other responsibilities that I have, my cable and my cell phone. Those are the things that I now have to take care of that I didn't have to take care of before. So the first job that I was able to find when I got out the military, and it was in the state of West Virginia. So for those who don't know, when you get out of the military and you're getting out, you have two options. The military will send you back to where they got you from, or they will send you back to your home of records. Your home of records is a place where you put down, like, this is what my driver's license is, this is my mom or my family is in this area. So that's more of your home of records. And the place they got you from, if it's the same as your home of records, then that's where you go. Or it could be different, where I was picked up in this location and that's where they'll send you back to. So my home of records is the DMV. Those who don't know, the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. area, that's my home of records. But where they picked me up from was West Virginia, because that's where I was going to college. When I went into the military, I left straight out of college and went straight into the military. So that's where they could send me back to. So I had to weigh the two options. Do I want to go back to the home of records, or do I want to go back to West Virginia where I was picked up from? Here's the thing. During that time, 1998, my home of records, the DMV, Washington, D.C. area, they were trying to lead the nation in homicides and murders and things like that. So I was like, do I really want to go and raise my kids? Because see, that was the difference I had now. When I was, before I went in the military, I had no wife, I had no children. But now that I'm coming out of the military, I now have a wife, I have kids, and those were responsibilities I had to think about. So I decided to go back to West Virginia. But in the meantime, you got to find a job. You got to find something that's going to meet all the needs, again, for all the responsibilities you have. And the first job I was able to find, was at the maximum security prison in West Virginia, and my salary was $18,120. Yes, you heard that correctly. $18,120 was my salary. That's what I had to deal with. That's what I had to use to get through with paying my rent and paying my utilities and paying my cell phone and my cable and my car and the food, and not including medical and insurance and all those other things that's needed. That's what I had, $18,120. So I look at, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. You got to get through, you got to get by, and you got to be grateful. Because believe it or not, that $18,120, if you took away just the benefits that the military give you and just looked at the money that they paid you, that was a pay raise. That was a pay raise from what I was getting. But when I added all the other stuff that I was getting because I was in the military, now I say, man, I'm scraping by. So one of the big things I learned through this lesson, and I want to share with you, is whatever you do, try to be able to do it by yourself. Try to be able to get an apartment or a house by yourself. Try to get a car by yourself. Try to pay your utilities and all by yourself. Now, if you have a partner, if you have a roommate, if you have a spouse, it's wonderful that they can also do the same thing. They can do it by themselves. Because then when you go in, if you go in half and half, then you're only taking half of what you got and half of what they got to make a whole. But if you can do it by yourself, if something was to happen to that person, if they was to move on or get sick or whatever they do, you're still going to be able to function. So that was one of the big lessons I learned out of all that move, is to be able to do it by myself, because by myself is the way to go. That's the way to go as far as making sure that you can handle whatever situation come your way. One of the biggest things, one of the biggest arguments that people have is over finances. That's one of the biggest things that tear people apart, is the finances. So how to make sure that you don't get caught up in the finances and the fussing and back and forth is to be able to do it by yourself and have someone that is equally yoked to you to be able to do it by themselves, and together you make a almost like a double. It's like you're double the amount that you need, and then it's not as bad. It's not as bad of a hit. So that's what I got to share with you, my 18120 story. I will never forget that number. I tell it to my kids. My first real job, 18120. And I'm grateful for what I had. I'm grateful for the experiences I got. And I got plenty of stories about when I worked that first job that I'm going to be sharing with you. So I'm going to ask you all to continue to share, continue to subscribe, continue to like, continue to watch some of the other videos we got posted. I'm going to be posting them on these videos, the links, so that you can click on and it should pop them up so that you can see them. But I ask you to support, and I'll support you. So until next time, I'm going to ask you all to stay blessed and peace.